The family meeting that changed everything. I still remember the look on my brother's face. Not the smile he wore at family dinners. Not the confident grin he showed off on social media.
No.
I remember the panic, the disbelief, the moment his entire world collapsed right in front of him. And strangely enough, it all started because I fell in love with a farmer. For years, my brother Daniel treated me like a joke. He believed success only came from expensive suits, luxury offices, and investment portfolios. Meanwhile, my wife Emma spent her days working on farmland. To Daniel, that made her worthless. To me, it made her extraordinary.
But Daniel never saw it that way.
Every family gathering became another opportunity for him to remind everyone how much better he was. And my parents, they never stopped him. In fact, they often agreed. I stayed silent for years, not because I was weak, but because Emma always told me something. People reveal who they are when money enters the room. At the time, I didn't fully understand what she meant. Years later, I would. And when I finally did, everything changed. The woman everyone looked down on. I met Emma at a local farmer's market. She wasn't flashy. She didn't drive an expensive car. She didn't talk about stocks or cryptocurrency. She talked about soil,
Crops.
weather, family, hard work, the things most people ignored, the things that actually mattered. I fell in love quickly. She was honest in a world full of people pretending to be something they weren't. When I introduced her to my family, the reactions were immediate. My mother forced a smile. My father barely spoke. Daniel didn't even try to hide his amusement. "So she's a farmer?" he asked. Emma smiled. "Yes." Daniel laughed.
Wow.
"That's unexpected." Everyone knew what he meant. Emma knew too, but she never reacted. That irritated him even more. Months later, we got married. At our wedding, Daniel gave a speech that still makes me angry. He raised his glass and said, "Here's hoping farming becomes profitable enough for my sister someday." The room laughed. Some awkwardly, some genuinely. Emma simply smiled, then squeezed my hand. That night she told me something strange. One day they'll regret judging people by appearances. I thought she was just trying to make me feel better. I had no idea she was telling the truth. Daniel's perfect life begins falling apart. For years, Daniel appeared unstoppable. He worked in finance. His wife, Sophia, was an investment advisor. Together they acted like financial royalty. Every conversation somehow returned to money. They constantly bragged about new investments, new opportunities, new properties, new profits. My parents adored them. At every family dinner, Daniel became the center of attention. Meanwhile, Emma and I quietly expanded our farm operations. We bought equipment, improved irrigation systems, leased additional acreage, built relationships with local suppliers. Nothing glamorous, just steady growth. Daniel mocked that too. "Imagine spending your life worrying about crops." I smiled. "Imagine spending your life worrying about appearances." But I never said it. Then something unexpected happened. The market crashed. One bad investment became 2, then 5, then 10. Within months, Daniel's portfolio was bleeding money. Sophia's investment recommendations failed one after another. Suddenly, the financial geniuses didn't look so genius anymore. The stress began showing. Arguments replaced confidence. Panic replaced arrogance. And the worst part? They had borrowed heavily. Far more heavily than anyone knew, including my parents. Soon reality arrived. And it arrived fast. The demand. One Sunday, my parents called an emergency family meeting. The tone felt strange immediately. Everyone looked nervous. Except Daniel. He looked desperate. My father cleared his throat. "We need to discuss something important." Emma quietly sat beside me. Daniel avoided eye contact. Then my mother spoke. "Daniel and Sophia are going through a difficult financial situation." I nodded. I already knew that. Then came the real reason for the meeting.
My father looked directly at me.
"You own land." I felt my stomach tighten. "Yes." "You should sell some of it." I blinked. "What?" My mother leaned forward. Family helps family. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Daniel had spent years humiliating us. Years mocking Emma. Years treating us like second-class relatives. Now suddenly we were family? My father continued. The land has appreciated significantly. Selling part of it could help Daniel recover. Recover? Recover from reckless decisions? I looked at Daniel. He finally spoke. You'll still have enough left. Enough left. Like he was discussing spare furniture. Not our livelihood. Not our future. Emma remained silent. Very silent. And when Emma became that quiet, it usually meant she was thinking carefully. My mother grew impatient. Well, I took a deep breath.
No.
The room exploded. The secret nobody knew. My parents accused me of selfishness. Daniel called me bitter. Sophia said I lacked compassion. The irony was unbelievable. Years of insults. Years of disrespect. And now I was the villain. The shouting continued for nearly 20 minutes. Then Emma finally stood up. The room went silent. She calmly looked at everyone, then asked one simple question. Why are you discussing land that doesn't belong to him? Confusion spread instantly. My father frowned. What does that mean? Emma folded her arms. It means the land isn't his. Everyone turned toward me. I smiled, because I finally understood where this was going. Years earlier, before our marriage, Emma's grandfather had transferred ownership of a massive agricultural estate into a family trust. The trust existed for one purpose: to protect the land from outside interference. Emma was the primary beneficiary.
Not me.
Not anyone else.
Emma.
Everything my family thought belonged to me actually belonged to her trust. The farmland, the expansion acreage, the equipment holdings, the profitable leases. Everything. Daniel laughed nervously. You're joking. Emma didn't smile. I am not. The room became painfully quiet. Then she revealed the number. The estimated value of the holdings. Several $1,000,000. Far more than Daniel ever imagined. Far more than my parents expected. And completely beyond their reach. Suddenly nobody had anything to say. The moment their faces turned white, Daniel looked like he had seen a ghost. Sophia stopped speaking entirely. My mother's jaw literally dropped. My father stared at Emma, the same woman he had spent years dismissing, the same woman Daniel called a simple farmer, the same woman everyone underestimated. Now, they were learning the truth. Emma wasn't just managing farmland. She owned one of the most successful agricultural operations in the region. Quietly, without bragging, without showing off, without humiliating anyone. Daniel's voice shook. You never told us. Emma replied instantly. You never asked. That answer hit harder than any argument, because it was true. Nobody ever asked. Nobody cared. They had already decided who she was. They saw dirt on boots and assumed failure. They saw farmland and assumed poverty. They judged everything by appearance. Now reality was standing right in front of them. And reality looked very different. My mother suddenly changed her tone. Maybe Emma could help. Maybe there was a solution. Maybe families should work together. Emma smiled politely, then said something unforgettable. Families should have worked together years ago. Silence. Complete silence. Nobody could argue, because everyone knew she was right. Karma arrives without warning. Over the following months, things got worse for Daniel. His debts continued growing. Several assets were sold. The expensive lifestyle disappeared. The luxury vacations ended. The fancy cars vanished. Meanwhile, our business continued expanding. Not because we celebrated Daniel's downfall. We didn't. But because we stayed focused. While others chased appearances, we built foundations. While others chased shortcuts, we built value. Eventually, Daniel asked to meet privately. For the first time in years, there was no arrogance, no sarcasm, no superiority, just regret. He apologized. Not perfectly, not dramatically, but sincerely. He admitted he had judged Emma unfairly. He admitted he had looked down on both of us. And for the first time, I believed him. People can change. Sometimes. but usually only after life teaches them lessons they refuse to learn any other way. We accepted the apology, not because he deserved immediate forgiveness, but because carrying anger forever helps nobody. Still, some damage never fully disappears. Trust takes years to build, seconds to destroy. Final lesson. Today, whenever I walk across our fields, I think about that family meeting. The meeting where everyone expected us to save them. The meeting where they discovered the truth. The meeting where their faces turned ghostly white. Not because of money, but because their assumptions collapsed. They spent years measuring people by titles,
Cars. Clothes.
careers, status. And they got everything wrong. The woman they mocked became the strongest person in the room. The farmer they underestimated built something real, something lasting, something valuable. And the people chasing appearances learned a painful lesson. Success isn't always loud. Wealth isn't always visible. And the people who seem ordinary may be carrying extraordinary stories. So before you judge someone, before you decide their worth based on what you see, remember Emma. Because sometimes the quietest person in the room owns the entire field. And sometimes karma doesn't need revenge. It only needs the truth. The truth eventually speaks for itself. The end.